There's a fragile moment between devastation and hope, and we're probably at that at the moment. The latest ceasefire proposal for Gaza, the 60-day truce, orchestrated by the US, by Steve Witkoff and endorsed by the White House, offers a narrow window through which diplomacy might crawl, bruised but breathing, and Israel has agreed. Hamas is for now reading the small print. The stakes, tens of thousands of lives, 58 hostages, of whom Netanyahu now claims only 20 are alive, and the soul of a region mired in cycles of revenge and ruin. The Witkoff plan proposes a temporary ceasefire in exchange for the release of 28 Israeli hostages, both living and deceased, and 125 Palestinian prisoners. In return, 60 days of halted hostilities, renewed humanitarian access, and most significantly, a promise of serious negotiations for a permanent ceasefire. But the deal is drenched in caveats. Israel refuses to commit to a full withdrawal or to the dismantling of its military campaign. Hamas, for its part, is unwilling to surrender its weapons or accept a permanent Israeli presence in Gaza. And the heart of the issue is trust, or more accurately, the total absence of trust. March's ceasefire collapsed when Israel resumed strikes following partial hostage releases. The memory of broken truces is fresh, and this too is a gamble against cynicism. While diplomats trade paragraphs and conditions, civilians in Gaza are starving. Wednesday saw chaos in Deir al-Balah. Crowds desperate for aid stormed a WFP warehouse. Gunshots rang out, their source unclear, their consequences horrific. 2 people died scrambling for flour. In Rafah, Kamal Afaneh walked 5 miles to collect biscuits for his children. His son is 9 kilograms underweight. We're dying, he said. Just end the war. UN officials describe the current level of aid as comparable to a lifeboat after the ship has sunk. Nearly the entire population of 2.3 million is now acutely malnourished. This isn't simply a conflict. It's a collapse of humanitarian order. And Gaza's suffering has become both a political lever and a moral indictment. The ceasefire is as much about optics as outcomes. Israel under Netanyahu must navigate international scrutiny, and even traditional allies in Europe and Washington are now vocal in their impatience. President Trump, ever theatrical, warned Netanyahu not to jeopardize nuclear talks with Iran. And meanwhile, US contractors distributing aid in Gaza face open hostility from the UN, accused of politicizing food. Domestically, Netanyahu faces a chorus of Israeli families desperate for the return of their loved ones. He now claims only 20 of the hostages are likely to be alive, and the arithmetic of grief has become a national calculation. Hamas, too, is fractured. Its officials are aware that accepting the deal without concrete commitments on withdrawal and reconstruction will be seen as capitulation, yet rejecting the deal may worsen famine, alienate regional allies, and draw deeper condemnation. What is a ceasefire in this context, though? It's not peace, and a ceasefire without a progress towards peace is simply a pause while the enemies on either side regroup. It's not justice. It's the political equivalent of placing a bleeding body on a ventilator and hoping the heart relearns how to beat. But ceasefires are not entirely meaningless. They allow for breath, they allow for food, for burial, for negotiation, if not yet reconciliation. More than 54,000 Palestinians have died. Over 1,200 Israelis were killed in the October attacks. And the moral ledger is soaked in red blood. A ceasefire offers no absolution, but it offers a reprieve. And that must be a positive in some small way. I've objected from the very beginning to the idea of a ceasefire. I don't think looking at a ceasefire as an end in itself is appropriate or right. The tragedy is that such reprieves, such ceasefires, require not just consent but choreography, and even the choreography is disputed here. And that choreography must end with peace. If it doesn't, it's just a pause. So we end where we began, with uncertainty. Israel has agreed to a ceasefire. Hamas is reviewing. Food is looted before it can be distributed. Aid trucks are delayed by bureaucracy, insecurity and suspicion. Children starve while men argue over semantics. And yet, in all this, there is one truth worth clinging to. Ceasefires are not necessarily signs of weakness. They are moments of possible moral courage. I hope that courage is not once again the first casualty of war.